and unusual troop movements. And police authorities in northern Bahar el-Ghazali state say 4 children have been killed and 2 others injured in a grenade explosion in a Will North County. This is stories and more coming to in this news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal, and now the news in detail. The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote today on the renewal of sanctions measures on South Sudan, including targeted sanctions and arms embargo. The vote is expected to extend targeted sanctions, including asset freezes and travel bans, and the arms embargo until 31st May 2027. It will also extend the mandate of the panel of experts assisting the 2206 South Sudan Sanctions Committee until 1st July 2027. According to the Security Council report, the draft resolution is a straightforward renewal of measures contained in Resolution 2781 of 30 May 2025 without substantive changes. The draft resolution follows growing concerns over continued violence and lack of progress in implementing the 2018 Revitalize Agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. A report by the panel of experts said armed confrontations between parties to the peace agreement and affiliated militias have continued in several parts of the country, especially in areas controlled by opposition forces. The report also said military operations by the South Sudan People's Defense Forces were supported by the Uganda People's Defense Forces and involved the use of helicopters and surveillance aircraft in attacks on opposition-held areas. According to the panel, some military offensive used armored personnel carriers procured in violation of the arms embargo, while additional small arms were also reportedly acquired in early 2025. On 16th April, the UN Secretary General submitted an assessment report to the Security Council on South Sudan's progress in implementing benchmarks for lifting or adjusting the arms embargo. The report said South Sudan faced its most difficult period since the signing of the Revitalized Peace Agreement, citing lack of progress and setbacks in key security and political reforms. The Secretary General said the Security Council may wish to consider revisiting the existing benchmarks with a view to ensuring that key remain aligned with the current context and effective support efforts to advance the implementation of the Revitalized Agreement and restore stability. The sanctions regime on South Sudan remains divisive within the Security Council. China and Russia have repeatedly argued that sanctions hinder South Sudan's efforts to strengthen its security institutions and support peace implementation. African members of the Council have also raised concerns that continued sanctions could undermine political and security progress. However, countries including France, the United Kingdom and the United States continue to support the sanctions, saying they are necessary to maintain pressure on parties to advance the peace process and prevent further instability. The United States, which drafted the resolution, proposed only minor changes related to future reviews of the benchmarks outlined in the Secretary General's report. The draft resolution was placed in blue on 22nd May and is expected to be voted on today. The UN sanctions were first imposed in 2015 following the outbreak of civil war in 2013, while the arms embargo was imposed in 2018 to prevent the sale or transfer of arms to South Sudan. The embargo also prohibits military training, technical support and financial assistance related to military activities or materials to South Sudan. The sanctions and arms embargo have since been renewed several times by the Security Council. The government has not yet commented on the expected vote. Civil society leader Edmund Yakani has warned of a possible renewed confrontation between the SSPDF and SPLA-IO forces in parts of Unity State, citing growing tensions and unusual troop movements. Yakani, who is also the head of the Community Empowerment for Progress Organization (SEPO), said information from SEPO's early warning system indicates that tensions and military movements previously seen in Upper Nile and Jonglei states could now be shifting to southern Unity, particularly around Lair County. Yakani said the pending violence adds 2 months of confrontation between the rival forces that have already caused heavy suffering to civilians, including loss of lives and destruction of property.
System, we see that ways of your confrontation between SSPDF and SPLA-IO is almost now shifting to southern unity around Lair. We know, we see through our early warning system, all these actions that may define as a preparation for waging similar confrontation like what we have witnessed in some parts of Jonglei State and some parts of Upper Nile, being transferred to unity states and specific Al-Southern unity.
The SSPDF and the SPLA-MIO have not commented on the allegations. The activists welcomed the recent call for an end to hostilities by the newly appointed Chief of Defense Forces, but said violations continue to be reported, including in Jonglei State. Akani warned that continued violence could influence international decisions on sanctions and the United Nations arms embargo on South Sudan. He said leaders who undermine the safety and protection of civilians risk facing punitive measures from the international community. Akani urged both SSPDF and SPLA-IO leadership to embrace dialogue and prevent further suffering among ordinary citizens. He also called for inclusive consultations among organized forces under the peace agreement, possibly through the African Union-led peace process. He said military confrontation only deepens the humanitarian crisis and leaves civilians paying the highest price. Police authorities in northern Bahar al-Ghazali state say 4 children have been killed and 2 others injured in a grenade explosion in Wol North County. According to northern Bahar al-Ghazali state police spokesperson Mudit Ngong, the 6 children were reportedly playing with a grenade near a military post in Kira Dam, thinking it was a toy when it exploded. Speaking to Radio this morning, Mudit Ngong said 3 children died instantly at the scene, while 3 others were injured. One of the injured children later died after being taken to hospital, leaving 2 others still recovering treatment.
I grenade kan darab sita yal kan grenade kutu askari kira mandaga tajesh kan yal bela fiu be grenade wal grenade gam bajar katal talata on the spot were 3 injuries. One passed away after his
month of comprehensive assessment from the recent attack on Wol Mapal in the Kwangole County by Nuer youth from Jonglei State. The government of Greater Pibor Administrative Area finally come up with the final report on tragic and violent events.
The police spokesperson blamed the incident on the unsafe handling and storage of weapons and explosives in areas accessible to children. He said authorities have instructed security personnel and civilians not to leave weapons where children can reach them. This is iRadio News. Authorities in the Greater Pibor Administrative Area are calling on the Jonglei State government to facilitate the safe return of 81 women and children allegedly abducted during an April attack in Kwangole County. Speaking to Radio this morning, Jacob Werchum, the Minister of Information of Greater Pibor Administrative Area, accused suspected armed youth from Akobo County of carrying out attacks that left dozens dead and several others abducted. According to Jacob Werchum, at least 17 people were killed and 12 others wounded during an attack on Kota camps in Kwangole County on 26 April. Werchum also alleged that 81 women and children were abducted, while a total of 1,528 heads of cattle were looted during the violence. The Greater Pibor authorities are now urging the Jonglei State government to intervene and ensure the immediate repatriation of the abductees as part of efforts to de-escalate tensions and restore peace between communities.
After a month of comprehensive assessment from the recent attack on Wol Mapal in the Kwangole County by Nuer youth from Jonglei State, the government of Greater Pibor Administrative Area finally come up with the final report on tragic and violent events that took place on April 26 this year. So during the attack, 17 innocent civilians were killed and 12 others sustained injuries. The attack has also looted a total of 1,528 head of cattle. Additionally, 81 women and children were abducted. So the leadership of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area strongly condemned this unprovoked act of violence and calls on the authorities of Jonglei State to diligently document the number of abducted women and children and to intensify efforts to recover and safely return them to their rightful families.
Minister Warchum also appealed to local youth to refrain from retaliatory violence and instead support ongoing peace and reconciliation efforts. He condemned the attacks and called on the national government and peace partners to strengthen security interventions and community dialogue initiatives in the area. Efforts to reach authorities in Jonglei State were unsuccessful. Intercommunal violence and child abductions remain major drivers of insecurity in parts of Jonglei State and the Greater Pibora Administrative Area, despite repeated peace agreements and reconciliation efforts by local leaders and humanitarian agencies. Health authorities in Morobo County, with support from the World Health Organization, have launched Ebola preparedness training for frontline health workers along the Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo borders. The training aims to prevent the spread of Ebola into South Sudan from neighboring countries currently battling an outbreak that has recorded over 900 suspected cases and 223 suspected deaths. Participants include clinical officers, laboratory technicians, nurses, and public health officers are taking this training. The program focuses on essential response activities such as sample collection and management, contact tracing, setting up treatment centers, infection prevention and control, risk communication, and community engagement. Health officials say the initiative is aimed at strengthening local capacity to rapidly detect, manage, and contain potential Ebola cases before they spread within communities. Given Kaya is a strategic location along the South Sudan-Uganda border, authorities consider the area particularly vulnerable to cross-border transmission during regional outbreaks. The training forms part of broader national preparedness efforts to safeguard families and communities from the threat of Ebola and to ensure frontline responders are equipped with the skills needed to respond swiftly and effectively in the event of an outbreak. Finally, before regional and international stories, the Ministry of Health, with support from the World Health Organization and funding from donors under the Health Sector Transformation, this week convened health sector stakeholders to validate the country's national quality of care policy and strategy. The policy and strategy framework is expected to guide the institutionalization of quality healthcare services and patient safety initiatives aimed at improving health outcomes and the overall well-being of the people of South Sudan. The validation meeting brought together technical teams from the Ministry of Health, representatives from academic institutions and development partners to review and strengthen the framework before its adoption and implementation. Officials said the initiative marks a major milestone in advancing a shared vision for efficient, effective, safe, timely, and equitable health care delivery across the country. National equality of care policy and strategy is also expected to strengthen health systems, enhance accountability in service delivery, and promote people-centered healthcare services nationwide. This is iRadio News. Now to the regional and international stories. We are joined by Sabid Udman.
Thank you for the international news. A Kenyan court has suspended USA plans to open an Ebola quarantine facility for American citizens in the country, which has sparked public concern about cross-border infection risk. The 50-bed isolation center, the exact location of which has not been revealed, is to be staffed by USA medics and was due to begin operation on Friday. According to an American official, the Kenyan government has not yet directly commented on the plan. The USA Isolation Center in Kenya is intended to treat USA citizens believed to have been exposed to the virus in the DR Congo and Uganda, according to USA officials. Elsewhere, a Russian drone has hit a block of flats in Romania, causing a fire and wounding 2 people and prompting a strong response from NATO and EU officials. The incident happened on Friday in the eastern town of Galati, close to Romania's eastern border with Ukraine. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said Russia's reckless behavior is a danger to us all, while the European Commission President Von said Russia's war of aggression had had crossed yet another line. Russian drones have strained across Romania's border a number of times during the 4-year war with Ukraine, but it is the first time citizens from the NATO member state have been hurt. Russia has yet to comment on the incident. Finally, 1/5 of the world's liquefied natural gas and oil normally pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and its closure has impacted global fuel trade. Speaking on Thursday evening, Van said negotiators were going back and forth on a couple of language points, which include the question of enrichment. He told reporters, "We are not there yet, but we are very close and we are going to keep on working at it." The USA has long demanded that Iran stop producing highly enriched uranium and dispose of its existing stockpile, which in theory could be used to create nuclear weapons. For the iRadio News, I am Sebid Woodman. Thank you.
And to the world of sports, we are joined by Jonakot.
Thank you so much. In sport, we begin with the South Sudan National League, where Superstar FC Bor have secured promotion to the South Sudan Premier League following a hard-fought 2-2 draw against Midrea FC via Will. The thrilling encounter between the Mading Bor side and the Madinga Will outfit saw Superstars FC take control in the first half, going into the break with a 2-1 advantage. Midrea FC responded strongly after a half-time and grabbed a late equalizer to end the match leveled at 2-2. Despite a comeback, the result was enough to confirm promotion for Superstar FC Bor, sparking jubilant celebration among their supporters. Meanwhile, Midrea FC hopes for promotion now hung by a thread, with only slim chances remaining ahead of their final game of the season with Munich FC Juba. And it's still in Africa, African champions parade Total Energy Cup Championship League trophy to thousands of fans in Pretoria. The fresh crowned African champions, Mamelodi Sundowns, sold off their Total Energy Cup Championship League trophy to thousands of adoring fans in a day-long trophy parade in nation capital of Pereira. In international scene, Messi to represent Argentina at 6th World Cup. Lionel Messi will play in a 6th World Cup as he captains holders Argentina at the 2026 tournament. The forwarder, who will turn 39 during the tournament, was named in Lyon's Collins 26-man squad on Thursday after leading his country to a third World Cup triumph in quarter 4 years ago with a penalty shoot victory over France. Finally, Victor Wanyambayama produced an inspired performance as the San Antonio Spurs defeating NBA champions Oklahoma City Thunder 118-19 to set up a decisive Game 7 in the Western Conference Final. That's all from a sport. Back to you in the studio.
And here brings us to the end of our stories, but first let's have a quick recap once again. The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote today on the renewal of sanctions measures on South Sudan, including targeted sanctions and an arms embargo. Civil society leader Edmund Yakani has warned of a possible renewed confrontation between the SSPDF and SPLA-IO forces in parts of Unity State, citing growing tensions and unusual troop movements. And finally, police authorities in northern Bahar el-Ghazali state say 4 children have been killed and 2 others injured in a grenade explosion in Will North County. That is the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please don't hesitate to send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Up next is Arabic news at 1:30. I am Wol Mapal. Thanks for listening. Till next time, have a blessed weekend.
South South of the Week on iRadio.
أنا سألت في جديلة شوف مربع 3 ورا ماما ماريا طوال بين كوب موية ب 12 البرميل ب 12,000 في تريلات بيفرق بخار مثلا يجيك تريلا مكتوب عليه مونيكي بيجي هنا بجديلة وبيكوب موية ب 13 طبعا الواحد لما من الصباح ما يلقى تريلا أكيد بيكون مجبور يكوبه ب 13 وده غلط أي تريلا يكون مخصص في حي بتاعه البلد ماشي لانهيار يا ديكو يعني الدولار ده ما عملة بتاعنا أصلا ليه إحنا ما نتخلى عنه بعدين المحيرني أكتر إنه الناس بتاعنا الكبار اللي قاعدين في كراسي أنت قاعد في كرسي من أجل منه عشان تسعد الشعب بتاعك الشعب كل الشعب الجنوبي كل الشغال والشغال كلهم تعبانين بعدين السوق ذاته مولد كل يوم يعني الصباح تمشي الليلة تمشي السوق تلقى حاجة ثانية تعال بعدين الساعة 4 أمشي السوق تلقاه يتغير من خير إلى الصباح الحاجة اللي أنا فهمته باختصار كده إنه الجماعة دول عايزين إن الشعب الجنوبي ينحار لكن هم نسوا إنه ربنا ده في ما بينتهي سواء إن الشعب الجنوبي نتوحد نحب بعضنا البعض يا ريت إحنا نواصلوا الصلاة بالإيمان والصوم الصلاة بيجيب تغيير ده كان الحل الوحيد ما في غيره.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan.
ده اي راديو عينك على جنوب السودان عينك على جنوب السودان عينك على جنوب السودان
Edian atake nana piola piai Edian jana do jumani mo Edian jura tangin ya cholani You will come one young kitty generi In the piola jam ya cholani You will come one young kitty generi In the piola jam I am an yellow Maybe go Can it think to go Makila power